Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to talk about how pretty much everything in America is designed to keep you sick. So let me explain. We live in a world where everything we buy, number one, first and foremost, everything we buy at the grocery store is pretty much poison. I mean, even down to the lean meats and to the vegetables, because they have certain dyes and artificial colorings in them and other chemicals that, you know, you can't even pronounce half of these if you were to look at the back of the bag or look at the back of a container of something that you buy off the shelf in, let's say, Walmart, or even fancier stores such as Whole Foods, such as Costco, such as Sam's Club. You know, most people in their day-to-day lives, they don't have time to look at the back. But if you were to look at the back of what the things you were buying, of the first 10 things that you put in your cart, if you were to look at the back of them, you'd probably be in shock, because you wouldn't even know how to pronounce most of them. And, you know, add to the fact that a lot of these foods are banned in other countries. Let's just get down to like the basics though. Let's say you're a healthy, 32-year-old like I am. You eat mostly healthy, and you work out, and you drink enough water, and you get enough sleep. Even if you were doing all those things combined, there's still a good chance, you could be healthy, you could do all the right things your entire life. But the way America is, the way it's set up is they got you by the balls, as George Carlin would say. They got you by the balls at every angle. Because they have fluoride. What happens is they have fluoride in the water. They have artificial colorings in the food that's supposed to be healthy for you, which it's a lot healthier than, let's say the candy aisle, or like the cookies and the cakes and things like that. But again, they still got you, because there's artificial colorings in it, in the meats. There are, you could get parasites or worms or whatever. It's still going through the processing plant, most of it, unless you're buying completely whole organic. And even that's not 100% safe unless you get it off a farm where you're actually, where you actually know where it's coming from, and for 100% sure that it's not processed. Because even organic, even like organic food, it's not 100% where it's been. You don't know where it's been. They slap an organic label on it, but just like the boxes of, just like the boxes of, you could get sweetener, you could get some box that says, oh, it has 0 sugar on it or whatever. But that's, what they don't tell you about that is most of them that say they have 0 sugar on it, they still have some sugar in it. It's not completely 100% zero. And then add to the fact that it's being processed in a factory, like all our food is. It's just ultra processed in factories, and there are bugs and other rodents that get in there. And there are a certain amount of bugs, again, that are, even if you were to eat all healthy, there's a certain amount of bugs that they let in our food. Obviously you just don't see them because they're all grinded up. But the FDA allows a certain amount of insects in our food, believe it or not. So it's just like, you're not even really safe on that regard, even if you're eating well. Because even if you're eating well, even if you're drinking well, you got fluoride in the water, you got other chemicals that are put in the water. On top of that, if your pipes are rusty or something, nothing really in this country is 100%, foolproof. You're gonna, it's designed to, look, especially as men, it's designed to take away your energy. It's designed to lower testosterone levels, which is why we have record low testosterone levels, right, in this country. I think since like the 50s, don't quote me on this, but we have, I know since the 80s, testosterone levels have gone down 30-40%. Again, don't quote me on this, but I think it's around 30 or 40% the last time I read. I mean, they were a lot higher in the 80s, right? And there are some people, this is why we have kids. We have kids growing up in their 20s, Gen Alpha, I'm going to mention. We have kids growing up who are in their early 20s, or we have late Gen Z who are in their late 20s, who have, the testosterone levels of somebody who's in their late 50s or 60s. And this can be blamed on the food supply. This can be blamed on the things that they put in there, in the candy, the things that they put in the chips and the cookies and all this stuff, even the healthy food. So really nothing in the aisles is safe. Which is why this is the first, my first point, which is why I say everything in America is designed to kill you in a way. It really is designed to kill you. Now let's go to the second point, okay, which is work. How many of us are working 50, 60 plus hours a week, plus we're doing side hustles in order to live? All right? We live in a world where it's no longer possible to actually just live a normal life while working 40 hours. And you're not even in an apartment. You can't just work a normal 40-hour week, whatever fucking grocery store or, whatever factory or whatever company anymore. Like it doesn't work like that anymore. Now you have to do multiple side hustles. You have to do multiple jobs. If you can find a job, even in 2025, you have to do multiple things. I mean, some people might be selling drugs. I don't know. I'm not judging. In 2025, what you have to do to get by, what you have to do to survive, that's on you. But it takes, on top of the bad food that we're most likely eating, because if you're working all the time, it's really hard to get any kind of good food in, right? It's really hard to get any kind of exercise in. So you're working all the time. If you're working all the time, you're probably not sleeping. Which you're not sleeping if you get 6 to 5 out 5. I read somewhere if you get 5 to 6 hours of sleep, your risk of heart attack or stroke doubles. So imagine that your risk of heart attack and your stroke almost pretty much doubling because you're not getting enough sleep, or you're waking up multiple times a night because your circadian rhythm is off, right? Your circadian rhythm cycle is off. And, on top of that, you might have a family or you might have kids. So you got even more stress. You got other people to take care of. You're not sleeping. You're working yourself to death. And on top of that, you got all these which is why we have all these fast food places in America, because it just promotes like people, it encourages people to eat fast food. It really does. It's like, well, you don't have time to make food because you're always working, you're always taking care of the kids, or you're always doing this or that. Why don't you swim by McDonald's? Why don't you pick up a double fucking cheeseburger? And, well, for the people that are younger in my audience, like you guys don't know this, but there used to be a thing called Super Size Me, where they made a whole fucking movie about it, where you'd supersize a large fry, and it'd just be this gigantic fry. It was like 2.5 back in like 2005 or 2006, 7. It was like 2.5 large fries put together, and it would be like $2 or $3. And they would ask you, would you like to supersize it? You'd be like, yes or no. And you'd just be eating these garbage, greasy fries with all this salt in it. It's just like, how bad McDonald's is to begin with, but it's just, people are just eating this garbage left and right. And then what happens? For the people that don't eat healthy, oh God, let's say we take up a smoking habit, it's over. You add smoking to the mix, you add bad food, you add 50 to 60 hour work weeks, a family and kids, and you have the fact that you're not sleeping either. And you wonder why obesity, you wonder why we're the #1 country for obesity. You wonder why there are so many people dying of work-related stress and dying of heart attacks, and, like mental health is just on the rise. Guys, like it's all connected. All of this is connected, okay? It's all connected. They offer, how should I say this? You eat the bad food because you're stressed, okay? You don't have time to eat the good food because you're stressed and you're working all the time. Because of how expensive everything is, and then inflation goes up, and then the government prints more money, which again means inflation goes up, which means you have to work more hours at the office, or you have to take up other jobs, or you have to do side gigs, which means you don't have time to take care of yourself, which means you eat the bad food because the fast food restaurants are everywhere. So you eat the shitty food, and then you end up with health problems. And then, of course, the cure is to go to the doctor, which is equally expensive. And most people have to get into debt just to go to the doctor because of how expensive everything is. Then they offer you the solution, which is mind-altering drugs that are equally as bad and dangerous for you because the effects have not been studied well enough. And Big Pharma does not want to release the side effects of the drugs, because if they were released the side effects of the drugs, then there would be an outrage and people would stop taking them. It's all connected, guys. Everything in America is meant to kill you. And let's talk about, let's talk about I could go on and on, but like example, let's talk about from the cars we drive today. The emissions they let off, the toxic chemicals that we're constantly putting in the air with our cars and the nuclear power plants and everything that's running on either some type of fossil fuel. Everything is connected, and it's all to make you sick in America. It's all to make you sick. It's all a big business. America is a big business, and keeping people sick is big money. So, I guess I could say, what is there to do about it? What can we do about this problem we have in America, where everything is pretty much designed to make you sick, mentally and physically? That's another thing, especially the mental part. If you're not going to the doctor for the physical part, you're going to either the hospital for the mental psych ward, or you're going to the doctor for the mental part, which again, they'll prescribe drugs for it. Either depression, antidepressants, the anti-anxiety, this or that. So society, America keeps you sick, and then they offer you the solution, which is mind-altering drugs from the doctor, which is only a temporary Band-Aid, which only masks the issue. It only masks the issue. Take it from someone who's been on all these different types of drugs. I've been on fucking Ritalin, I've been on Haldol, I've been on benzos, I've been on Wellbutrin, I've been on, what else have I been on? Holy fuck, Mirtazapine, I've been on Zoloft, you fucking name it. I used to take it, because my mom used to force me to take these fucking pills because she thought that I was the problem at home. I was the problem, me. So she would force me to take these pills when I was a kid. She'd force them down my throat. Then when I got older, she'd convince me. She'd badger me, and she'd buck me, and she'd try to convince me that I was the problem and to take these pills, which I was never the problem. But that's another point. These drugs don't do anything for you. What you really need to fix, guys, it's in here. You need to fix what's in here, inside your heart. You need to fix what's inside your mind. You need to deal with your trauma, however you're going to deal with it. Obviously, I'm not saying do not deal with it with any mind-altering drugs or any alcoholism. You need to deal with your trauma by talking to someone. You need to deal with your trauma by peeling back the layers one by one as they come. Okay? Do not take these mind-altering drugs from the doctor. Do not, do not depend on these drugs to be some kind of savior for you. They're a temporary Band-Aid. You know those shitty Band-Aids you used to get as from your parents when you got the parents say, you got a boob or whatever, like they put a shitty Band-Aid on it. It's a Band-Aid. It's all these medications are as a Band-Aid. They're just there as a temporary fix. But you really don't know what they're doing to your serotonin and dopamine levels until years later, because again, Big Pharma does not want to release this information to the public, because if they did, it would cause outrage. That's why they release it so many decades later. They know the effects of these drugs decades before they even release this information. Again, and then let me make my last point. Social media. Social media is the number one drug that you see everybody on today. It is the absolute number one drug. If they're not vaping, again, I used to vape it. Horrible habit. Not saying I didn't do it. A horrible habit. If it's not vaping, if it's not drinking, It's not gaming. It's, again, gaming in moderation is okay, but it's the social media. And I'm guilty included. It's the social media. It's the smartphones. Forget about the social media. It's just the smartphones. You're looking at your smartphone every single day. You look it up. What's the first thing? You probably keep it by your bedside, right? You probably keep it on your pillow. What's the first thing you do? I gotta check my phone. I got a new Instagram message. I got a new Facebook message. I got a new Snapchat message. This and this, that. I don't know if it's, I'm just crazy, but I hear, I swear I'll be on the computer, I'll be doing something, and I'll hear on my phone. It's almost like your body is completely connected to these smartphones. And maybe it's conspiracy, but it's almost like your body's completely connected to these smartphones. Like I swear I hear vibrations from my smartphone, from my cell phone, before it even goes off. And then 2 or 3 seconds later, I'll hear a notification, another notification, another notification, and all these things are doing, all it's doing is giving you instant dopamine hit, instant serotonin, instant dopamine. And what that's doing, it's frying your brain. It's not allowing you to become disciplined. It's not allowing you to, how should I say? It's not allowing you to feel. It's making you depressed. The things that usually gave you dopamine and serotonin, all these, it's completely frying that because you're getting too much of it. You're getting too much dopamine. You're getting too much serotonin. You're not able to. You're not able to become disciplined in something or to learn something, let's say the guitar, or let's say something that that requires a long time to master. That's a different type of dopamine. That's the good type of dopamine. That's the kind of dopamine you want. Something that rewards you, something that's useful, right? And I'm not saying you gotta do something useful all the time or learn something useful all the time, but that's the kind of dopamine you want. But you're not able to feel that. You're not able to feel that because you're so used to getting that instant dopamine hit from checking social media or messaging somebody on Messenger or whatever, that you just need more and more and more of it. That's why you're constantly checking your phone more often, more and more. And that's why it's hard for people to stay focused because of how much they're checking their phone. And it's because they're not getting that instant gratification, because they're not getting that dopamine. They just give up. They give up on life goals because that's what these things do, is they just zap your brain of all ambition. So anyway, what can we do about this? What can Gen Z do about this? What can Gen Z and millennials do about this? What can you guys do about it? Well, you can there's applications you can put on. Let's say you can use your phone for an hour or two a day. There's applications you can download. I see this one everywhere. It's called Opal, OPAL, where you can download this application where you can download to essentially limit your screen time, limit your applications, make sure that you're not constantly checking your phone every 10 seconds, for a new message, because it's a bad habit to get into. It's something that you can do. Let's say, you're just so used to, let's say you're so used to just pulling it out and checking it. You can turn that on the application. It will limit your screen time to make sure that you're not constantly checking your phone. What other things you can do? Well, again, you can try to eat as healthy as possible. But again, if you have the money, you can go to Whole Foods, or you can go to Costco, you can go to somewhere that's, less expensive or more expensive, but, offers higher quality food. Or if you have, even better, if you have a farm by you, if you have a farmer by you or whatever, somebody that sells fresh meats and like fresh eggs, look at the quality of the eggs in the store compared to the farm. It's not even a comparison, guys. It's not even a comparison. You'll see just how processed the eggs are, even organic compared to the ones you buy up straight from the farm. Completely different, way healthier for you. So again, you could do that if you know somebody. If there's a local farm by you, you can get it from a farm. More expensive, sure, but healthier, a lot healthier for it. I'm sure your body will thank you for it. What else can you do? You can try to cut back your hours and live a more minimalistic lifestyle, so you don't have to work as many hours. Less. Again, it's a trade-off. It's a trade-off because, again, less money in your pocket, But if you feel that's like something, if you feel like work's really stressing you out, and you feel like you could use a break from work and you want to live a more, a more minimalistic lifestyle, you could do that. You can live a more minimalistic lifestyle. You can cut back on work, and you got to pick the lesser of two evils in this scenario. So, what else can you do? Well, don't isolate yourself. That's one thing. Try to hang out with people. I know in this society, America tries to isolate you, but if you have any close relatives or people that try to go see them in person. Talk face-to-face interaction, not through Facebook, not through any kind of technology, face-to-face interaction. So that's really, unless I can't really think of any others. Other than that, just try to go for walks in the park. Try to get outside as much as possible. And yeah, guys, I mean, again, this society, like America, tries to keep you sick. America keeps you sick, and then they offer you the cure. So what I'm offering to you right now is my form of cure. What's personally helped me. Those are some of the things that have personally helped me. Do not go for these pharmaceutical drugs. Do not go to these doctors looking for some kind of cure, some kind of savior to help you out of your problems. All right? Only you can do that. None of these doctors can. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it informative. I kind of went off on a long rant here about America, but I've been just thinking so much about this lately, and it drives me crazy because people don't see it. I try to talk to this about people, and I try to talk to this with people, and they don't see it. They don't see how sick America makes you. They don't see how sick this culture is. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it informative again, and until the next one, guys. Another rant down. Take care.